Hello and welcome to the Screen Corner podcast. I'm your host, Zippo. Join me as we navigate the complex landscape of the screen industry in South Africa. I'm very excited about today's episode because I'll be sharing my journey of writing a short film titled This Is Crazy, produced by Thando Dlamini. The story is about a 34-year-old woman, Esona, whose pursuit of a new perfect life without her estranged mother with the love of her life is stopped when she is compelled to return home for the traditional dowry negotiations. Upon her return, she discovers that her estranged mother is living in solitude, struggling with the burdens of Alzheimer's disease. With no one else to turn to for support, she faces a heart-wrenching conflict, cutting ties with her toxic mother after the wedding as she had planned, or dedicating herself to care for her now ailing mother who needs full-time support. So through this narrative, we explored complex themes of mother-daughter relationships, which are more prevalent than I knew, but in writing the script and doing a bit of research, I realized that there's a lot of people who have complex relationships with their moms, especially daughters. The isolation of aging, mental health challenges, especially at an old age, and that's a topic that's not spoken about a lot. And not just like in terms of things like dementia and Alzheimer's, but also just like anxiety, depression, and bipolar disorders and all of those things, and the intricate bonds that hold families together. My collaboration with Thando began during the National Film and Video Foundation's Youth Filmmakers Project in 2020 or 2021. I think between those 2 years. And it was under the mentorship of the late RCB's Triangle Post. In that particular program, my original project remained unproduced. I still have the script, by the way, if anybody's interested to produce it. Mine and Thando's creative partnership continued to flourish, eventually leading to This Is Crazy. Through this experience, though, I gained valuable insights about screenwriting that I believe could benefit emerging writers struggling with their first scripts. My goodness, we always struggle with our first script or second script or third script, because also like the writing phase of the project, there's a lot weighing on it. This is the initiation phase, and sometimes there's not a lot of budget to have the support team that you need. Yes, writers need support teams. They need writing assistants. They need script editors. They need a producer to supervise the process. And you find that most writing processes or writing rooms don't have enough human resource for that. And you find yourself doing this work all by yourself. So I have immense respect for writers in development because, it's lonely, it's overwhelming, it's repetitive. And the term development, like calling it development for me, I think it broadens it. It makes it bigger. It makes you realize that this is not an easy thing and this is not a small thing. Okay, so the 5 crucial lessons that I learned in my development of This Is Crazy. The first one was the value of writing with no pressure. Look, writing requires the luxury of time. This is why some people will say writing is for privileged people, because if you have financial pressures and all of that, it does, especially if you're not if you don't have the training, if you're writing your first or second or third script, you need time, not just time to put words on paper, to transfer your outline on the screen page, on the screenwriting page. No. You need to allow your perspective as a writer to mature and evolve. You need to grow. You need to put the script away, go out there, live life for 3 months, and then come back to it. And then put it away again, go out there, live life for 6 months, and then come back to it. What happens in that time is that, sometimes there's characters in your story that maybe you're not connecting with them as much as you'd like to, and it's limiting how you are experiencing the story and how you think others will experience the story. But in living life and maybe doing research, maybe doing further research, because also as you write, sometimes you identify that, okay, I need more research on this. Then you put it away, you go out there and you research. But also, let's say you don't put it away to go and do hard research, but just living life, you may meet people that resemble this character, that what's the word, that help you with the writer's block that you're having, and suddenly, you can motivate the decisions that this character is making. Suddenly you now feel connected to this character because of a person you met or of an encounter you had. So that's very valuable in the writing process. And for me, the final version that I gave to the producer to go and shoot was so different to the initial draft. And I think it was stronger than the initial draft because it went through a lot of drafts, because I had a job, Thando could pay her own bills, and not everything was riding on this project that we're doing. And I think I wrote it over 2 and something years. And I still felt like it needed a few more drafts, And I'm just being honest. I felt like it needed a few more drafts. It could have benefited from a little more time. The luxury of time is one lesson that I learned. So if you're thinking of applying for, let's say you're thinking of applying for funding, or you're thinking of shooting even if you're thinking of shooting in 3 years' time or in 5 years' time, start writing now. Because you're going to need that time to refine and refine and refine and refine. All right. Lesson number 2 is that you have to find your core motivation. Beyond financial considerations, every writer needs a compelling reason to tell a story. My motivation stemmed from wanting to shed light on issues of elderly isolation and families coping with mental illness of the elderly. Everybody goes out there and lives their lives, and then this old person is going through this and nobody's there to care for them. Nobody understands this thing. And what happens to those people, and how do we navigate that using our family bonds to be able to take care of the elderly when these things happen? And also just understanding Alzheimer's and dementia, So your motivation doesn't have to be as personal, but you have to find the thing that connects you with the story. Every writer needs to do that. Why are you the best person to tell this story? And when you go through that honest assessment of why you are the best person to tell the story, you might find that you realize that actually I'm not the best person to tell the story. Let me tell another story. And you'd rather do that than tell a story where people can see that this writer, maybe they were not too connected to this, maybe they were not connected to the story at all. These characters, what they're doing doesn't make sense. And then now you have to do a post-mortem of what went wrong. Rather preempt that and ask yourself this very critical question so that you can find that core motivation. Because writing is a difficult journey. If you are not connected to the story, it's going to be very difficult for you to get from draft 1 to draft 12. And somewhere along the line, sometimes everything changes. The producer comes and says, I no longer want to have this character in the story. Can we just like kill this character and not have them? You have to push through all of those kinds of things. So find that motivation. It will keep you going, and audiences will actually be able to see if you are not connected to the story you are writing. Okay, number 3 is the critical importance of table reads. One of my biggest regrets was skipping the table read process. And I value table reads. I don't know what happened. When I finally watched the completed film, certain dialogue passages felt awkward or unnatural. These, when you hear the dialogue and you're like, it could have been better written. These issues are issues that need to be identified and refined through a simple table read. People are reading the words out loud. You can hear them. You can hear what sounds off, what sounds good, So hearing those words spoken can reveal nuances that aren't apparent on the page. So even for this podcast, I write things, I'm in my head, I'm writing, and then I try to say those things in sentences and it makes no sense. So table reads are important, critically important for that, because I would say the table read notes that you make and the feedback you get, that's now the final draft before production, when the actors or whoever you get has read the script out loud to you. So very important. And then number 4, script editors as creative partners. Working with zero budget meant foregoing a script editor for me, but this taught me the invaluable role in the development process of a script editor. They're not just proofreaders. They are your creative blind spot detectors. They bring fresh perspectives and critical insights that writers too close to their work might miss. Their ability to identify weak points while preserving your creative vision is so important, especially if you're a writer on a deadline. Because at least with my process, having the luxury of time, I could leave the script, come back to it in 3 months' time, and in that I kind of become the script editor, because now I look at it with a different set of eyes and I can identify the things that don't work. But if you don't have the luxury of time, get a script editor if you can, because you are too close to the work, you are on deadline, you don't have time to stop. At least that person isn't too close to the work and they give you what you need from another perspective, so to say. Okay. And then the last lesson is excellence in writing elevates production. For me, when it comes to the value chain of filmmaking, I would place myself in the development and writing process. And through extensive research during the writing phase, I learned that the quality of the script sets the tone for the entire production. Guys, no director, actor can save a bad script. When your writing demonstrates clear vision and careful craft, it inspires similar dedication from the entire creative team. Our director, for instance, in this project, allocated quite a big portion of the budget to equipment. And she said she really wants to make the film look good, and she wants to invest in how the film looks, because she was very happy and impressed with the script and felt like the script informed her to understand that, okay, this is the kind of film that I can make a beautiful film that premieres in a festival and. So as a writer, you need to be strategic. I always say this is my little secret when I'm writing anything. You want to set the tone, and you want the people that follow you to kind of like take the lead from you, to take the lead from the script. You want there to be minimal changes. And I'm not saying that when there's like a lot of changes, it's your fault, because sometimes it happens and it has nothing to do with you and your abilities. Sometimes a good script goes to a terrible director or producer. But you just want to write it really well so that the people hopefully feel like they should respect it enough to make it amazing and to make it excellent and to, to elevate it. Yeah, that's the word. So you want to write in a way that the next creative who takes the script will actually elevate your vision and idea and your script. And those are the 5 lessons that remind us that screenwriting isn't just about putting words on paper. It's about creating a blueprint for visual storytelling that inspires and guides the entire creative process. So take pride in being that person. We've come to the end of this episode. I am hoping that you enjoyed it. I'm hoping that you learned something, and I will see you on the next one.